punishing asylum seekers is essentially bipartisan policy these days, just to the degree of it. But so if you set out for Australia, you're going to get placed. But these kids didn't set out for Australia, except they were taken along. I don't know how many of the 50 to 157 who were children are unaccompanied or what. We don't know that breakdown. But the idea that children should be punished alongside the adults, I just don't think it's going to be acceptable to Australia.
And is it acceptable? In the week we've heard that evidence in the Human Rights Commission inquiry I referred to. Let's have a listen to two of the doctors from Christmas Island talking about the treatment kids get and the impact of the.
How would you rate the standard of paediatric care on Christmas Island?
Well, I guess there isn't any paediatric care really, so very bad.
How bad is Dr. Sandgren?
Abysmal. We would run out of some basic things such as IV fluids and speculums and antibiotics, scalpels, things which are required for basic medical care on a daily basis.
Are you aware that some children have tried to poison themselves or ingest harmful substances?
Yes.
Are you aware that some children are banging their heads against walls?
Yeah, that's a common method of self-harm. It's quite clear that we've got a large number of children with significant mental distress and disorder in this population.
Now, Minister's response to that, we've got less children than we used to, and we're doing more and more to try and make it better. Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And some of the stories that came out were horrendous, like, the kid who had a hearing aid taken away and so couldn't communicate effectively for months, and medications being taken from people thrown in the bin. I mean, it's just awful stuff, and it beggars belief, quite frankly, that a country with Australia's resources cannot do better than this and hasn't done better over this period of time.
I think it's worth hearing the other evidence from that inquiry too, which was Dr. Peter Young saying that the department asked him to remove some figures. Now, the Minister queried this. Let's have a listen.
What has the department's reaction been to your report?
Sort of reacted with alarm and have asked us to withdraw these figures from our reporting.
I beg your pardon?
They've asked us to withdraw the figures from our reporting.
If in fact there was a problem and some of our staff did an inappropriate thing, I will deal with that. I cannot say that actually happened in that way.
Well, this is extremely worrying. But if the information is being reduced, redacted, altered before it gets to the Minister, then that is extremely concerning. And of course, it comes back to the core point that we've been talking about for some time, and that is the Minister has a responsibility to be much more transparent about what is actually happening. Where this is smothered in secrecy, you get these kinds of processes where data is interfered with, statistics are changed, or reporting is not given. Frankly, it would be much simpler for the Minister to provide the Australian public with this information in the first instance. Now, the Minister said there's two sides to the story, but that comment there from Julian Triggs reminded me of the Mick Palmer inquiry after the Vivian Solon affair, where he came out and said pressure and policy is giving rise to a culture within the Department of Immigration that is hyper-protective and defensive. I mean, her point there is the government's into secrecy, and that's filtering into the department.
Yeah,
that's what she's saying.
The department takes on the characteristics of the government, the Minister, and we've got this Minister who won't give you the sign of day, and who's a lot of whose assertions now more or less been proven to be false by Julian Triggs there. No, you go on.
No, he did say that a plan that he wanted a process whereby the figures would be there, the department could respond to them, he could then look at the original stuff and then the department's response.
And not tell us the rest of it.
His next step would be to hand every individual Australian.
Oh, I think not.
On a lighter note, the MH17 crash, not light at all.